All right. Christian, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you say like Christian. My online name is really is Chris. I'll be fine with that. I'll react. It's not my IRL name, but I like to keep IRL and online separate. I've done a ton of work into that. It's good. um, well, I'm mostly a administrator and developer, and also like I'd like to call myself a bit of a community manager of the project. I like also mother. I have like so many occupation hats. Like, jeez. Well, yeah, I helped with creating the desert and maintain the server. Also create a lot of mods that have been made public in the last years. Not years, a couple of years. How long has this project been active? Like 2 years, right?
I think it was like 2 years, yeah, but we went public over a year ago or something.
Jeez. Yeah, a year.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
So yeah, I basically kickstarted the modding scene and took it and really started playing and experimenting together with Thark at what was possible and not. It's great, and we're still developing and discovering new things, how to like make new things happen. It's fucking incredible. We can make custom units. It depends how much resources we have or tiles. We can do a lot, and we can show it in the games.
Well, I think that's the easy part about Unity. We don't have to figure out the old stuff before we want to make new stuff.
I mean, you need to learn Unity first, and I have no idea how Unity works.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Also, as for me, I'm Lancelot, also known as Major Lancelot. I'm one of the developers of the Unity project. So basically what we're doing is we are completely rebuilding the game from the ground up in Unity so that we have a better framework to, how do I say this, expand upon what's already there. But of course, that does mean we have to recreate what has been there in Unity, and it is taking a while.
Yeah, that is something prevalent in both like the offline game developer group and the Unity group. Is like, we're doing this as a hobby. It's very like, we're not doing this as a job or whatever, so we have many responsibilities outside of the project, which just keeps us busy.
Sadly enough.
Yeah,
it would have been great if we could do this full time, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a student at college and I'm doing leisure and hospitality. That can keep me busy, especially with internship at times.
And I'm currently doing artificial intelligence, which luckily does coincide a bit with programming, so I can use those skills in here. But I'm also gonna start an internship in like a week, so that's gonna keep me busy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, should we instantly move to the first question that was put in chat?
Yeah. So what are the future plans of the project? Well, what's the focus on the next couple weeks or months? For the offline, I would say focus on adding the focus is adding the things that used to be in the original game, which are easy to add, either recoloration of units or just simple drop in, add it, done, bingo. But when the next major challenge will be probably the polar or the PvP. We haven't looked at PvP yet much, but we have made some ideas of like, hey, how could we do it? But yeah, we're slowly working through this, re-adding the things that were used to be in the original game, and then we also have to like monitor it. We don't want to overload the game as with units as they did back then. We don't want to do that.
Don't want to turn it into a cash grab again.
No, definitely not.
As for Unity, basically what we're working on is getting the very first map ready, so the middle southern map where you start the game. We still got quite a bit to go with stuff like UI, adding more buildings. We have a funny bug where landmines actually do attack units, and the landmines do approximately 8 damage to an APC, so that's something we might have to fix.
Jesus,
Does mean the landmines are effective though. But yeah, so for the couple next weeks or months, it's gonna be mostly debugging and adding the UI.
I can't help but point out, like, if the mines are actually exploding, that it's then actually more accurate to real life. Alright.
But like, I don't think we want them as a threat, but more an obstacle.
No, just wow, they were intended just a simple 1 HP even?
Yeah,
Obstacle.
1 HP, 0 attack, static. Just to slow down the player a bit.
How are the tests of... Is that it for this question?
I think so, unless we have other future plans regarding this project.
No, that's mainly the things we're focusing on with offline and Unity. I have a question for you, Lance. If you're done with like the UI and adding units, is it then really easier to continue adding more and more because the framework is done?
Yeah, it's literally if we have the framework done, we already have practically a map editor in Unity itself, so we can just keep building maps the way we want to. We can throw units on a grid, buildings on a grid, practically everything. Even if we wanted to, we could make new stuff because some of the things like the units are built up from one single class that branches out. So you basically have a generic unit, is which we call it, which has attack, HP, movement range, and a bit more stuff. And that generic unit can then be used to create infantry, APCs, tanks, basically everything. So whatever we want to, we can start throwing it in there once the first framework is done. But yeah, then we need to first finish the framework.
Okay, next question I saw. How are the tests of Android version? You had a random reset. Are you talking about the offline or the Unity version? Because I believe Unity is... it is
Unity,
on
we don't
phone,
talk about that one.
Well, a random reset. Yeah. For offline, it's a bit of a weird case. I believe Android is still a bit of work in progress, I believe. Or it's... Hold on, let me check. I want to say it correctly. Yeah, okay, so it is out, but if there like any bugs, like save. Yeah, alright, yeah, Mitchell, you can probably say more about it.
So Mikhail can't speak at the moment, so he's gonna chat and we're just gonna read it aloud. If it's about the offline, he's working on a system to back up your progress. So a reset will not be possible anymore.
I believe currently the progress in the Android version of offline is connected to the application itself. Like, you cannot reset your progress, you don't have to load or save it. But that doesn't mean if you delete the program itself or the application, you have to start over again. And yeah, he confirms it.
And for the Unity Android version, although we don't really talk about that, let's just say it's gonna be, we have to readjust the control scheme, of course, and switch it to permanent landscape mode before we can do any more tests of that. But it is possible it should eventually come as well.
Alright, good. Someone wants, I believe it's mostly related to the offline, maybe Unity can do it as well, but what about the ranks they used to have in the old version or the medals with like the collections? We haven't, well, Mitchell might know more about if it's possible to add the ranks and the medals, but I believe they're connected to the collections, where if you kill units, you get certain special items. If you hand those in, you get boosts.
I always
or
thought those medals were connected to PvP, but maybe I
also
remember that.
PvP. Yeah, you got them from a couple sources.
Yeah, okay. So
I believe, yeah, the ranks. Is it easy to have like next to your to the top right, next to the icon, or to have like the badge, the rank badges, and have them change based on what level you are, or what rank, or how many tiles you've taken?
in Unity, that should be quite easily possible. It's just adding a single extra sprite that changes depending on certain conditions.
Okay.
And yeah, if like one of the sources is PvP, that should also be possible in the future. But it's not going to be our main focus for now, because of course we first want to get the game up and running.
Yeah, okay, Mitchell confirms it. It's definitely possible. We'll have to look into it, how much of the code is still present, how much we have to work extra in, but it's definitely something that's possible at some point. So yeah. This is a very good question. Will we at some point be monetizing the game? For the offline, I'd say definitely not. It's just something we're putting together while we're waiting on Unity to get like finished. But well, is Unity at some point going to get monetized? That may be a good question.
We currently do not have any plans to monetize the game. That's also in the FAQ. It's because we have seen where that leads to, namely crappy units. That's basically just a cash grab. And we want to avoid going there ourselves, and the easiest way to avoid that is by simply not monetizing. Another reason we might not want to monetize is because Unity's pricing changes, which basically will eventually screw us over. And as indie developers, it's the reason I mainly switched to Godot, a different game system. So yeah, at the moment we do not have any plans to monetize the game. If there's gonna be stuff like gold, it's gonna be earned through different means. I'm not sure if Frito was planning to set up a Patreon for the server costs. But other than that, there's no plans to.
We have considered in the past with some other like backgrounds, because I'm not sure how this exactly works. I didn't study law or whatever, but originally the game is of course owned by Digital Chocolate. But now the Digital Chocolate and the company that took it over have completely gone bankrupt. So the ownership of the game is just a bit void in the gray area. I believe I heard something like we can just keep on doing what we're doing as long as we're not making money out of it. Then it might become, if we're one day approached like stop this, we can say like we're not. This is. I'm not sure how this works. Do you know how that's called?
If I remember correctly, because I spent way too much time on that research. The rights were originally at Digital Chocolate, then it went to, I think, RockYou Games after Digital Chocolate went bankrupt. Then RockYou also went bankrupt, and now the games should be in the hands of, what was it, Wild Sky Media, which is a platform for single moms or something. So that's kind of
very interesting.
So we're not entirely sure whether the trail was correct. And the internet is a bit vague about whether it was sold or licensed. So yeah,
I believe I had
done what we can, and it's practically untraceable.
I believe I asked someone from the Galaxy Life project that could check it, and they also said there's no copyright connected to Army Attack. So yeah, it's just best assumption we can make is just it doesn't exist, so we can just keep on doing what we're doing.
And if someone eventually comes to us and says, "Hey, I've got the copyrights," then we'll just be like, "Great, can we buy it from you?"
Yeah, that's probably the best course of action, because I have not noticed any kind of game like it being worked on or put out or advertised. So we're really one of few that actually are doing this and are keeping on doing this. There were some projects in the past, but they don't seem to be going much further. I have a bit of a question
by the way,
towards you,
I've
Lance.
started marking questions we have finished with a thumbs up, so we know where we are.
What?
In the chat.
Oh yeah, I have a couple.
So Vernon asks, when can we expect the game that we can invite one in another?
Oh,
and
he's
do it the
asking
same
about
way?
the French system and
Oh, yeah.
inviting. I believe then the offline game needs to come online, so it's a question how much, like for you, Lance, how much that's gonna mean costs for a server to keep it running. But it's also gonna mean certain things, like how does it mean for not the gold, because it does I'm not sure why it goes weird, but it goes weird because there's nothing like, hey, there's no payments actually happening, but I'm not sure if that was a server that messes up, but probably fine. I believe Michael has said before it's pretty easy to make it online at Friends. It just needs the code and foundation just needs to be added. So I'm not sure if you can clarify a bit more on that, Michael.
And for Unity, we have already put in the basis for the friend bar at the bottom. However, nothing is connected yet, so yeah. It will eventually be possible in Unity. I have no clue what the costs are gonna be of a server. That's not my field of expertise. But yeah, we do plan on bringing that back.
Yeah, it was a huge part of the game, just fun.
Like, that's basically what the game ran on, being a social game. So...
Yeah, you could help your friends, kill things. You could give them items, and whatever. You could get free units after X amount of friends. So yeah, that was main way to get free Eliminator or Rabbit Man. How you can also call them.
Michiel's also answered the offline version does support friends, but really basic, so fisting and nothing more. And that it might be better to add friends in Unity. I agree. It's likely easier to add friends in Unity. So yeah, we'll keep working on that for sure.
Yeah, someone is asking again about the monetization. It will be fully free to play with the exception of maybe having a donator rank and stuff. Yes. There was also an idea in the past we had, like searching up for lawyers for like the copyright thing, but we'll need the money for that. But if we're going to do something with that, we'll be open and informing about it, like where it's going and how it's doing. But yeah, I'll only be donating. It won't be necessarily like paying to play at all.
Nope, the game itself will remain free to play.
Oh, how old were both of you when you started playing Army Attack? I believe I was like 10 or 11. I'm not sure.
Wait, when did Army Attack start on Facebook again? Was it 2010 or earlier?
Hold on, let me look back on it.
Because I think it was around 10 or 11 as well, around that time.
Let me search that up. Like I remembered I was still in like primary school, but it was in like the last couple of ages.
The same. It was the same years as UB Funkies for me, so that was around 2010.
Yeah, 2011, 2012 I'm seeing here. Yeah, 2011.
In that case, I was 11 when I played it.
Yeah. 2011.
Over 13 years later.
I was Wait, I was 12? That doesn't seem right. Yeah. Will the gold mine structure be the structure to get gold? We could do that. There'll be a structure that gives gold on occasion, or that we have now in the offline that you get X gold per level, like certain ways outside of buying it, which you can get gold consistently. So yeah, that's definitely something to experiment with.
I think that's also possible in Unity, like a gold mine. We did also plan on giving gold per level. Another possibility would be gold as a mission reward. So we do intend to add more, how do you say that, gold income. But we'll have to look into what and how.
Yeah, just thinking, experimenting. And that's where maybe mods can come in, like what we're doing. Like for my troll map, I had like a special setup which gave the player gold every 3 turns, which, well, it was only a single gold, but over like many turns that kind of stacks up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's certain ways to like experiment.
Of course, the ways to experiment in the offline version and in Unity heavily differ from each other.
That's true. Things possible in offline might not be in Unity and vice versa. That might.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, this is more for offline. When will the northernmost part of the homeland be added? That's a bit of a tough question. We're definitely going to add it at some point, but it's tricky because they were added during an era where very overpowered units were added to the game. So if it does get added, it might not be in the nature which was originally back then. We'll maybe look into nerfing or changing it a bit because, yeah, back then they really went crazy what they added.
And crazy is still an understatement. They went, yeah.
Bonkers.
Yep.
Oh, this is very interesting. How do you reconstruct the game piece by piece when the vastness of it lacks sources and evidence over the years? Yeah, just luck, sometimes finding something that is present or is not, and trying your best to either make it create it, make it look right, or find the source. I was very lucky that I managed to find a recording of mine I made all the way back in 2016 that shows up a ton of the game and a ton of the items, units, so it's very handy for recreating a lot of stuff, but at some point we will still come short because things will still just be animations. We can try to make attack animation or moving animations, but they won't be as fluent at times as the original units were there, which are added now, or which we're adding.
But then again,
yeah,
that would also be practice in creating those animations, because the more you try to adjust to a certain style, the more you will learn to work in that style, and it will eventually start to look like it. So that's of course a good thing. And yeah, other than the luck, we sometimes come across a profile which we can link directly to either Digital Chocolate or it's called Army Tech. So we do try to contact people.
Mm-hmm.
They never call us back, sadly, but still we do try.
Yeah, we have went on many wonderful adventures trying to find people, companies that had the assets or the resources, but every time it was either no response, they didn't have it, or, well, yeah, no.
The guy CEO of, I think, Ubisoft, and doesn't respond to random messages.
I did get in contact with Ubisoft, with a couple of people in their Discord support server. They don't see any of their the name mentioned in their folder, so I doubt they have it.
But maybe they know the people. But yeah, it's still difficult.
Well, that's not directly a question, but someone maybe had misheard you. So he's saying, hey, yeah, you're making it from scratch in Go. Either way, so worst case scenario, you can change the name to whatever, Battalion Strike. I wouldn't call it that because there was already 2 Battalion series, so I wouldn't do that. But you were remaking it in Unity, but that is an interesting question with like Unity with like the monetary like income what they're pulling right now. Why are you sticking with Unity instead of like moving to Godot? When you say you were also trying to do that.
Well, of course, for my personal projects, I'm still moving to Godot and just developing more and more within that. But for this project specifically, it's because we mostly know Unity now. We know what it can do, and we rely on that. Besides, because of the pricing changes, it means that we are nearly forced to stay free to play, because otherwise we are indeed getting screwed over. But as long as we remain free to play, we shouldn't be hit by the absurd rates that Unity is asking.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also, if we were to switch to Godot right now, it would take extra time in relearning or learning a completely new engine for other people that haven't learned Godot yet. And then we'd also have to remake what we have up till now. So that's extra time which we don't really want to spend at this point anymore. Especially after all the, how do I say this? Well, I'm just gonna say it as this. Especially after all the bullshit that went around with converting the old files to Unity, which just didn't work. And we lost so much time on that, so yeah, we're sticking to Unity.
One correction from Michiel. I keep on feeling I'm saying their name wrong. Michiel. Hard to say in English. About the friends, he's saying that it might be better to add friends in Unity instead, because for offline it's just very basic.
I already did mention that.
Yeah, okay, then we're just going to keep on going. Are we gonna... Oh, a ground strike aircraft and gunships, or ways to capture and units like the 2-barrel tank. We might at some point we'll be looking at like, hey, how can we add, which units can we add that look right? What do we want to add? Sometimes, yeah, it could be nice for new areas or new level design with like a flying or a ship, because I believe at Colossal at some point you had enemy ships. Maybe at some point you'll see a player one as well.
If I may butt in, I'd like to thank you, Phil. I always felt or thought it was a fever dream that I still played this back on Hives, but I'm glad I now have the confirmation that it was actually on Hives.
Yeah, I can confirm it was on Hives. I started playing on Hives, beat it entire Homeland, then realized it was also on Facebook, which was more up to date than the Hives version, and I believe the Hives was shut down at some point.
Yeah, it has come back.
And there I just on Facebook. I also did have a feeling of not setting it up to the fullest extent of like it did on Hives. Hives was like very well organized, like 50 drop spots, a line of tanks, a line of batteries, but I just didn't feel like it on Facebook. But yeah, there I did play like also the Polar and Desert Island, so that was really fun.
Alright. On to the next question, unless you have a question for me. Or for me, Phil.
Just looking right now for questions, so if you see one, go away.
Well, Gussie is saying in-game events could be a great idea, and we did, at least for the Unity version. We have already discussed that possibility. We're definitely still looking into it. We have no clue what or how. But indeed, events are definitely a good idea and fun idea to expand upon the base game.
Yeah, in-game events, could be fun. Also, I sometimes had the idea, because I am the main person behind the Twitter account. Like sometimes, like literally what Fro is doing right now, like oh, guess what thing this is on the Facebook, Twitter, and then you try to do something like they were doing back then, but something fun. But yeah, that's also like, hey, how far can we experiment with that? Definitely in-game events, although we need to see how that could work together. Maybe with PvP as well, like certain seasons where you're only allowed to use like infantry type units or ranged units, like
Maybe like
things like that, just spicing up.
Also special timed maps or something that could work. Like just specialized campaigns that run for a few weeks. Well, of course, smaller campaigns.
Yeah, like the PvP. I mean, in original, it was always like PvE, it was never PvP, because I believe you were always against the AI, never against another player, because I don't remember defending or being on the other side of like the units. It was also always mine against darker blue. I was never the darker blue units, so I was PvE, but it's definitely fun to see like how can we put our own spin to it. Will it be player against player? Then the game needs to be online. Will it be player against AI? What kind of challenge will we make out of it?
So here's also the thing with if you're never dark blue, that might also mean, or that can also be that the developers programmed it in a way that you are always shown as light blue for simplicity's sake. So the other player also sees themselves as light blue and you as dark blue. Because that if you're playing an entire game as light blue and suddenly you play dark blue, that can be kind of disorienting at first.
True, but I should maybe also clarify what I mean with that. I didn't directly mean literally you're the dark blue units, you control them, but you're in the position of the dark blue units.
Like that.
You were always on the left side of the vertical islands, or like diagonal islands, always on the left side. The enemy was always on the right side. On the more horizontal, longer ones, you were always at the bottom, enemy at the top. I don't remember it being different in any other scenario. So yeah, that's what I'm basing it off.
That's fair. Although they did talk in the post-mortem about the PvP, so we can guess that it was definitely PvP and not just hidden PvE. But yeah, I get it.
PvP of PvE should definitely be fun to add at some point. It will be much. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it less if there's a helicopter on the enemy team, but alright.
Yeah, but we can change that, of course. If we don't want players to have specific units, we can have force rules on that.
Yeah, or
that's
maybe do something different about the power-ups, because if you had indeed like a helicopter and you could move onto these power-ups like from the beginning of the game, the first turn, you were in a very good position. Especially if it was like an extra energy, extra freeze the enemy, laser, doomsday, whatever. You were in a very good position if you pulled that off, or a negative for the enemy did. So yeah, that's also how you can maybe balance it by looking at what you could do with the increased movement, because movement couldn't be interesting, that you could organize like, hey, be careful because this unit can go a lot of places. But it's also something you need to balance very well with how far and where it can and can't get. Then also the question of like in the PvE maps, which also is a reason why I think it's PvE back then, is that there were also a lot of the defensive works. We also need to look at those, like are those indeed also and only against you, also against the enemy. So yeah, a couple of things just need list where we need to look at, which determines how PvP is going to look. Shall we go on to the next question, because I see one for you, Lance. Question about for the Unity devs. Do you know about the Unity remake made by Wilmian Entertainment?
Wait, where I not? Oh, here.
Above, below, like the Elite Juggernaut.
I have never heard of Wilmian Entertainment, and I'm gonna look it up right now. But in short, no, I have not heard about the Unity remake made by Wilmian Entertainment.
Oh, Michel below does clarify it a bit. It was not made in Unity. It was made in... Oh, maybe indirectly, but it was made in Construct. And he knows Wilmian from Galaxy Life, and that you probably shouldn't use it because it's not very good. This one's better. I actually maybe remember it. Well, like... Didn't someone actually make a video about it? Didn't you?
They could have. I do remember seeing a video of a remake.
Yeah, someone made a video about it, mentioning it. But yeah, I believe this project got shut down. I believe. I cannot find it.
All right.
Okay, yeah, I have it here, but I'm not going to load it up, or else the recording is going to get messed up.
No, but I do remember seeing a few other remakes, some being lower quality, so to speak, than people might hope for. So it might be that one, I'm not sure. But yeah. We have seen a few other remakes, not specifically Unity, but we're not trying to. Yeah, how do I say this? Wait, no, I see the image. I have seen that one.
Oh, you shared an image, didn't you?
The image at the bottom of the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah, I recognize that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have seen that one.
It's quite basic, I believe. I mean, it worked well.
We're aiming for a higher quality.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it at that. Like, of course, I don't know Construct, so I'm not sure what the limitations and everything is about that, but yeah.
Well, do you know anybody that completed the game? Well, for our game, like, it's not that difficult. I believe the original was, well, was quite a grind if you didn't have those strong units. Well, good units, because Elite Rocket Battery or the Sniper, because that Water Fortress has like a crap ton of HP.
I am so glad I stopped playing before I saw the Water Fortress, or at least never got far enough to see that.
I did get far enough to see that. It was, I'd say Polar was just the right kind of difficult. It was difficult, but it was fair. The Colossal was just, the units in the Homeland was just horrible. I never felt with Polar that it was unfair. Maybe the rocket towers was like, oh, that's annoyingly convoluted to destroy, but you could, it's a bit of like, over time you could whittle it down, but yeah, for some it's just no.
And of course, if we're then speaking of balancing areas, it's also a matter of where are the defensive structures, what enemy units are there, and basically a slight change in that can throw off the entire balance, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I remember like once they added like the immensely strong units to Homelands, my defense got very quickly absolutely obliterated. And that was not fun, so like I literally then just made the recording I have now and just booked it. Left the game.
Yeah, if it takes like a week to build something up and it's destroyed in an hour, that might not be completely favorable for the player.
No.
And that is also why we are at least aiming to cheat a little in the Unity version, or I'm not sure if I should call it cheating, but basically cheat in the favor of the player. It's something that if done right, nobody will notice, but if done wrong and the game doesn't cheat in the favor of the player, everybody will notice it.
Yeah, I could maybe attest to that. Like, well, in the normal game, like the player units are always stronger than the enemy units, but I believe the defenses aren't. The defense. So in my mod, I made like Crimson. That's reversed, so you really notice it. The game gets a lot difficult. If you swap the stats, it gets a lot difficult.
But to be honest, I can understand that defenses have a little less strength than enemy defenses, because otherwise you could just play the game like an AFK idle game, sort of, where the enemy just keeps running into you and everything keeps dying, and all you do is repair the structures, because that might also take away a bit of the strategic fun.
I believe it was a strategy regardless, that you let your defenses die and the enemies would just not be able to pass through them, so you have just a safe wall. They would do it anyway.
Okay. Note to self: when a structure dies, it first gets into a destroyed state and then it gets removed. Alright.
Yeah, you can give it like, oh, attack it again and it disappears, or the same thing with like units. If it isn't not repaired within 30 days, or maybe made shorter, depends how quick you want to make it, it also disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Just to nerf that strategy. By the way, at this stage of the game, shouldn't we already get the Black Fox as a unit, or was that later on? I believe Black Fox was mainly added during Polar Bear, and like I said, it just, I mean, in this case, it's we don't have. I'm not sure if we have like images of like the back of it, but we do have images of the front, so that will be easy to remake. But at the back, we also need to the back, or else it will look weird. But yeah, at certain cases, like I'm not. Yeah, there's not too much graphics about from Black Fox, so it will be a struggle to really recreate her to the fullest extent of what we had back then.
I also see a question from Undead if we have worries about the project.
Oh yeah, about that. Yeah.
Do you have any worries about the offline project?
Not mainly like what I'm saying, like the problem of like, well, of course we can never accomplish the same exact quality of back then, because we're working off of, well, Desert was easy to recreate because a lot of the files were still in the mobile APK which we used to recreate this, but Polar is that completely not. So we're fully relying on screenshots made from recordings and whatnot to recreate these things. So, and then my worry is that it doesn't look as right, but with some other units we will not be able to add every one of them because we don't have the full range of graphics to make it look right. That's my main concern, but I also just accept it as it will be fine. The offline project will just keep going, keep working, keep chugging, making things possible. But at some point, I'm too hoping that Unity will take over.
Oh, don't worry, Unity will take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest
There's
worry
more future like for the Unity version because it's built from the ground up and more is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you have to actually. It doesn't mean you have to recreate all of the different assets. Like, if you want to add like, we have shown off like, which have we actually shown off? Elite Rocketeer. We have shown that off. If you want to recreate that, is that easy to recreate, or do you have like to go through the entire process of designing, coloring, texturing? And
it depends on if we have the sprites or not. Like, if we have the sprites, it becomes a bit easier to recreate, because then we can just take the unit template we have, add the sprites on top of it, and animate those and call it a day. If we don't have the sprites, then it's going to be a bit more difficult, because then, of course, we need to make the unit ourselves. But after that, it's still the same process as with regular sprites, just throw them in the game, put them one after the other to animate them, and paste it on the template.
Yeah, so it's a bit the same as offline. Like we're just we can easily recolor, restructure textures that are already there, but for sometimes we need to completely remake or recolor things on like editing software or whatever. And yeah, sometimes it looks better than others, but it's a bit of a gamble. Like, will you guys also be able to remake, like, for example, the Black Fox we were talking about? Would you be able to remake that?
It will take us likely a bit of time because I'm not sure if we have the stats anywhere, so we'd have to basically go by feeling. Then we'd have to recreate the art ourselves, every single animation. So we are likely able to recreate it, but it's gonna take time. But yeah, that's basically with everything in this project. The resource we need the most is just time.
Okay, that question already got answered by Stark. Alright, why are they not in the APK? APK didn't have Polar World. No, for the recreation of the offline game, we used a APK. The mobile version of the game used this APK to like work, to like make it graphics. I'm hoping I'm explaining that right. But yeah, that's where all the like the graphics, the code and scripts, etc. is stored. And we managed to find it, but the mobile version was far behind on the Facebook one. This would still, yeah, basically where they were on the mobile, they were about to add the desert, but they haven't yet. And on the PC Facebook version, they were already at that like Colossal Island. I have no idea why mobile was so far behind, but yeah, hard to ask those questions now. Yeah, it was even removed from the Play Store at some point.
Okay, from the looks of it, we have basically caught up with the questions.
You can use AI to have the image in better resolution. I have tried that before, but honestly with AI 9 out of 10, it just completely butchers the image and it makes it look really weird to me. So I don't like using it.
The AIs that do work in creating better resolution are often paid, and yeah, that's just annoying.
Yeah. So that we worked through the questions here. I can find AI Rocketeer. Yeah, I'm not sure if that. I reckon I did put that together, but I'm curious to see how mine looked like. That one didn't make it in the end. Yeah, no, it didn't. It really didn't. The flames look like the flames look like cheese.
It might just be better to just scale them up regularly with like nearest neighbor or linearly, because usually that already works pretty okay. Not too well if you like scale it up massively.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's the wood that was the one I'm using. It looks so much better.
And there's the Nightmarish helicopter.
Nightmarish helicopter?
Yes, in the screenshots.
Oh god. Oh yeah, that one. How?
Everyone instantly has traumatic flashbacks.
Jeez, yeah, that's what I meant. Like helicopter just going everywhere and picking up all the power-ups. Oh, this is an interesting question for you. When is the Unity version updates going to be public?
Well, it was fun, everyone, but I gotta go. No, just kidding. Yeah. Like, we can't really pin a date on that right now. We're hoping to have it ready before the end of this year to at least have a very first version that has the first area. But yeah, we cannot pin a date on that because we just don't know when everything will be ready. Especially with the fact that we're doing this besides our regular lives. And I think most of us are still doing internships or school, so that's, yeah. We hope before the end of the year, but no promises.
Yeah. Yeah, just the friends thing, that's gonna be hard to add for us because it's not, friends doesn't work for now.
That's gonna be a bit easier to add in Unity.
Yeah.
Because it's basically, we have to generate a key, I think, that's unique for every user, and then add a link to that key, but we'll look into that later. First things first.
Yeah, and to some degree it's now necessary for maybe, I'm not sure how much of a hassle it is to still add them. But yeah, for the offline version, but for, you can also just say like, hey, we have ways of giving you gold, which was way better in the original game. Just do X, do I, and you have the unit. Right now there are not unique IDs as in AA floats version. Will it be possible in the future? For offline, I doubt it, because it's just a program just shared wildly. There's no real account behind it. I assume for for Unity, or when offline does go online on a server, there is a ID connected to each person.
Basically, the intention is to store everyone's progress on the server, and to do that, everyone will need a unique ID. So that's absolutely going to be the case.
Yeah, okay.
And then those IDs can in turn be used to build up friend lists and the friend system, which is also useful. So yeah, do count on that being there.
I'm actually kind of curious, because with like PvP and for now the offline, which is easy to look at, like a ton of gold, a ton of cash. I'm kind of curious for Unity. Well, for us in the offline, it will probably never. I doubt players will be interacting or fighting each other too quickly. We want experiments, but yeah, it's unsure because it's just offline by nature. Unity is better. Like, how are you going to moderate the game? This is an interesting
idea. Yeah. At this point, we don't really know yet. Of course, we can try and create checks that link to the server to make sure nobody can cheat easily by just cheating in units or anything. But yeah, I don't really have the knowledge about the server side of things and the back end, so I'm not sure how those checks would have to work. I do know they can work, but yeah.
Yeah, my best guess is
that's gonna need a bit more research.
My best guess is like, if for like servers, like different packages are sent. I remember this randomly from Minecraft. Like, hacked clients always alter the packages sent from the client to the server. It could be something along the same line, like, hey, the player sends a package of, hey, I have this juggernaut here, and I want to move it there, but you send it to the game server, and it's like, but you don't have a juggernaut, and just no.
For example, yeah.
But yeah, it's something we need to learn and experiment with. It's just gonna be a matter and just a thing to learn.
And I do count on it going wrong on multiple occasions, but that's just gonna be part of the process. Because if everything goes right, we learn nothing from it.
That is true. if things go wrong, you can learn and try to see why it went wrong and learn from it.
Exactly. And if things go terribly wrong, then you can also learn, but first you're likely gonna cry. Like in our case with the SWF conversion. But yeah.
Excuse me, which version?
That was back when we were trying to convert all the SWF files directly into Unity.
Oh, that you mean that was the
That didn't just go wrong, that just went horribly wrong. Like nothing worked. Looking back on it, I'm glad we did try it, because if it had worked, it would have saved a lot of time. But now we know for sure it doesn't work, and we can just say, screw it, we're gonna do it our way.
Yeah. And I've remade a unit before, like a bunch of unit parts, like the barrel, the threads, the body, whatever, are like used on multiple places. So like, if you extract the graphics separate images, you can like use them on multiple places. So like that could be also be very handy.
That's true, but that's gonna be increasingly difficult, at least in Unity, to get the position of everything right.
That's true. I did have that experience. Like, I think this thing is on the exact same spot as the frame before it, and if you play the entire animation, it just fucking wibbles around. So yeah, it's tricky.
And that's the exact reason we're saving the animations for last, because we know that will make us so annoyed at Unity. But yeah, the animations are necessary, because otherwise it will look lifeless.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You have a bunch of like things sliding around on screen. Now on Polar, I might understand that, but Homeland, not really. I was like,
Gliding past the landmine disappearing as the unit itself gets blown up.
oh yeah, because the mines attack in your game.
We do not talk about that. Honestly, right now I'm kind of tempted to just leave one random mine in there that is an Easter egg that will attack you if you get too close.
It
But
just
then
crashes
people will
the
be
game.
like, why did this happen?
On the way to add exploding landmines. It's actually extremely easy to add exploding landmines. I did it in my prior hard mode version. You just have to change the attack from 0 to 1 and it's just done. Range from 0 also to 1 and you're done. You think I was fancy about it and make the hit animation, the explode animation, but yeah, it's done. You really have to change 3 things and it's done. April Fool's incoming. Are there any more questions?
I see someone typing.
Yeah, someone is typing. How you? Good. How you? We write the history of the character. I'm not sure if there's gonna be like a entire lore of the character that Game Theory is gonna make an episode about the army attack, but
Absolutely, that's our goal from now on.
that would be one hell of a goal. But yeah, maybe so. I'm not sure where the story. Of course, just the dialogue that's already in the original will just probably return because Lance, you're trying to remake the original 1-to-1 in Unity, right?
Not specifically 1-to-1, because of course just the balance changes make it so that it's not a 1-to-1. We were looking into small adjustments to the story as well, or expanding upon that story, and of course expanding on the gameplay as well, so it's not a 1-to-1.
Oh, okay, so it's going to be just a bit different, like
We're
at
trying
some
to
places.
capture the feeling and everything from the old army tech while upgrading it.
Interesting. I'm interested. I want to play.
Well, hold that interest for like a few more months, maybe a few more years.
In the meantime, we're just having fun with like offline game and making mods and playing mods. It's gonna be great. we can make our own stories, our own units in there. So that's cool. That's it. Amazing.
And hey, who knows? Maybe there's gonna be an editor in the Unity version someday that allows map creation and everything as well.
It could be nice for like ideas like the PvE like challenges, like hey, create a map so you can choose the challenge or something. So yeah, a bunch of things are possible. It just takes time, but yeah.
Or just people creating their own PvP maps,
Yeah.
special campaign maps. Everything is possible.
Definitely.
Whether we want to add it is another question, but yeah, everything is possible. I can hear your questioning if you have a question.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's actually a perfect way to describe it. I can't really think of one.
All right.
Mainly out of own interest of how easy it is to like add and make tiles units, because if at some point offline is no longer prevalent, I'm just curious, like, hey, what will I be doing? Will I just be looking after the community, or will I be able to help Unity? That's a bit of a question on my end.
You can always try to brush up your art skills if you want to. Just make so you can perfectly recreate the old art style. But yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Oh, that's interesting question. A bit of at the end. Are we looking for developers to help out?
We'd have to discuss that with the entire team, or at least with the entire Unity team. And since the entire team isn't here, you can always just send one of us a message, and then we'll just throw it in the group. But yeah, that's not something I can decide on my own right now.
Okay. For offline, it's a bit hard. We're not particularly looking for more developers. It of course takes time, but yeah, we can do it. We can see whatever happens, but I don't think much is needed, because it's of course you have to smack your head into the wall to understand the offline how it works, but once you know, it's pretty easy, I would say, to put things together. Just it's on some point it's extremely convoluted because maybe Michio wants to type out an application form right now.
That does make me wonder, by the way. Does the offline version still use the old configuration?
Can you clarify what you mean with
Yeah, so in the unpacked files, also as explanation for all the others, if you unpack the files from the APK and convert the SWF to whatever, there's a configuration file which contains the entire game, which is like 20,000 lines of code explaining, hey, this tile is going in this position with this sprite, next line, this time, and I saw it, I got sick, because it's just so unorganized.
Yeah, we at times just joke about how messy the code in the offline is made, but it's like one of those internet. Where's the image? Like it's just a very messy string of like knot of cables, but it works, so you don't want to touch it.
Well, yeah. That's always the case with coding.
Yeah.
When something works,
it like makes sense if you look at it long enough. Yeah.
No, but the longer you look at it, the more chance it has to break. So it's Schrodinger's code.
It either does or doesn't break. Well, yeah, I remind that of like the entire system designed to make shores be the color of what they are. Like, hey, be the top right, be friendly if the top right tile of it is friendly. It's like, oh, I can also easily find it. It's like hundreds, like tens of lines of like else if statements.
Oh my god.
Literally, I shared it and it's like, oh, I'm getting Yandere sim vibes from this. I have it here.
I'll be honest, I did the same for the game jam last week.
Look at
So,
that. I just shared it. So
yeah.
many else if statements.
And I'm afraid we're gonna have to keep using those kind of statements, because that's just how programming is sometimes.
Yeah, but also sometimes things are hard-coded in a question like why. Like the starting tiles, the starting friendly tiles are both defined in the SVW and in the based adjacent. But if you change it about the base adjacent, nothing happens. You have to actually change it in the SVW.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. But I have managed to make some sense out of some parts, and I have managed to make it custom things out of it. Like, it's incredible. You might see it one day in one of my mods. Let me just say that.
Well, I'll be looking forward to it at the very least.
Yeah, actually, I can explain one thing. I'm not sure if many people noticed, but at the end of the top 3 areas of my troll Crimson Island mod, the area at the bottom near the railway, you couldn't pass through them. I didn't set them to mountain tiles, I set them to a new tile, a rail tile, and it made it so only droids could pass through them. So it would actually mean you cannot block the railgun, which is insane. But yeah, things like those, like custom tile types, is now I can make that. So that's incredible. I can also make custom passability. I believe I shared it before, I can make it so tanks can fucking cross the water. They can cross the narrow sea.
Logical, of course.
And they don't have to spread the Red Sea with a staff. Someone is asking about a duck user in the AA float server. I have no idea.
I vaguely
What you
remember
mean?
someone, but I have no clue this quickly. I doubt we can ever find it. Yeah, of course. All the channels are removed, so we cannot find it.
Do we want to talk a bit more about float server, or just leave that to die?
We can talk about it for 5 minutes, but after that, it should be in the past.
It should be in the past. It was nothing more than the most base things about the APK being made public and online. And otherwise it just didn't work. You had to pay to entry, but it was never updated. Bugs were never fixed. So, and the developer became completely silent, so we went our separate way.
So yeah, and that's basically also why we're trying to communicate as much as possible with the community, because then we're just simply preventing another float situation.
Like you said, if we know how to do it wrong, we can do it right.
Yep.
Did he ever came back? I have never.
No, I don't
I
think
believe
he did.
some weird shenanigans happened with like his game and his servers, but I don't think I ever seen the person himself ever.
I think
His last message was fixed. Yeah.
I think that were his last 10 messages or something.
Yeah, he had like a bugs channel with like everyone would come in and say like, oh, the 2 cities to the left and the right of the starting areas, they were missing, and like every time he had to go in and fix it instead of fixing the bug. So yeah, that was weird. But yeah.
Pretty weird.
now we're just trying to get ourselves more out there, just sharing our links, making video. Some people are making videos. We encourage it, trying to get our name more out there, so we can partially also overtake that server in the online presence. We have actually made it so that if you join the server, you can just immediately message like, "Don't be here, go here instead."
Yeah, there's only one channel open or still visible in the previous server, and that leads directly here.
Yeah. So we're just letting it die in the past, and we're hopefully slowly taking over.
Preferably quickly, but yeah, mostly slowly.
Slowly, quick. It depends. I'm just looking at it. The other server has about 1,050 members, so we're not too far off to beating it. We're at 128, so we are about.
Oh, that's weird. I'm only seeing 1,024.
Oh, I might be including the bots for that.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that could be the case.
Wait, where are you seeing 124?
Server information.
Oh, that's weird. Oh yeah, server information. I'm looking at the members tab, but okay, that might be adding bots to it. So yeah, it's 124. So we're about 25 away till having more members than that server, and that is also just huge.
Nice. A new question has come in. Do we fear of being demanded for copyright?
I believe we talked about this a bit before in the podcast, but it's a bit of a weird story. Like, the copyright doesn't exist. The companies that held it are both bankrupt. No other companies we have found or reached out to claim to have it. And I know someone from Galaxy Life. I asked them, "Hey, are this copyright still taken?" And he said no. So yeah, and I believe he can have like law check that out. They're a company, I believe they can.
And worst case would be if someone suddenly says, "Hey, I've got copyrights, take it offline or I'll take it to court." We have a pretty strong case by now because we have checked pretty much everything and we couldn't find it. So technically it's called an orphaned work. So if something is orphaned, you can't suddenly claim copyrights and drag someone to court for it.
Yeah. Nobody owns the game. Yeah. Ubisoft have the copy. I did ask them, and someone in their support Discord server, like someone from the Ubisoft himself, they checked and they said like, no, we don't have them. I can maybe see if I can check it. I have like saved a bunch of stuff which I found on my assets quests. Yeah, here you go. No? Ubisoft. I can share them here. It's a lot of images, but...
Oh my.
Yeah.
That is a lot of images.
Yeah, it's a lot of images.
Yeah, so Ubisoft doesn't have the copyrights, while Sky Media claims they don't have it. Rockyu and Digital Chocolate simply cannot have it because they don't exist. So what could be the case is that an individual has it, so a random person, and in that case we're never gonna find it. Or a company may have it, but that company might then be untraceable. So
yeah, I believe they even went back on it. Like, I'm not sure what they filed when Rocky went bankrupt. They filed for a Chapter 7 bankrupt. I'm not sure what that means, but
That basically, yeah, sorry, as I said, I've done too much research into this. That basically means that all the assets were getting collected and sold off to raise money for the debtors.
Yeah, so somewhere someone has it or it got deleted in over time. Either one of two options, the assets or the copy. The copyright is just not really how you can buy it, but it's more something that's held in like an archive somewhere. Yeah, it's just gone. And if we do get someone approaching us, we can indeed ask about, hey, can we own it from you, or we can claim like, oh, no one has ever done something with this in the almost 10, maybe 10 years now. Remember, it's 10 years now.
No, it was 2016, so 8 years.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay, I'm remembering wrong. 2014, Digital Chocolate got taken over by Rocky. I read that one. Yeah.
And then
2016, so it's 8 years, almost 10 years. We can say like, no one in that time has done anything with it, and we're not making any profit out of it. So I believe if we make that argument, we can go like, oh, we're not. It's a bit of like, yeah, they own it, but they don't use it, so we're using it. I swear there was some way to call it, like you were allowed to use certain assets of a company as long as you're not making profit out of it.
Yeah,
not.
Copyright is just one huge gray area.
Especially for this game, it just doesn't exist. So we pretend it doesn't.
So that means we'll just continue working on it, and we'll see where it brings us.
Do you think at some point it will be a problem and we might have to go into a law to see if we can secure it or fight someone fighting it?
Maybe. It depends if the person who bought the assets is a greedy little shit. Also, that's gonna come back to bite me in 10 years or so. But
we are gonna record it, yes.
Yeah, but only you have the recording. We can edit that out. No, just kidding. No, but like, yeah, we've done basically everything we could, followed every trail we found, and that led us nowhere. So if I have interpreted the law correctly, that means that we can basically use it unless someone comes forward to claim the copyrights, and only then it's gonna be the case of can we still continue with it or not. But they can't just drag us in front of a judge because we made the game. Like, at least that shouldn't be possible from what I understand.
Yeah. And yeah, if something like that happens, and let's just say it won't, because we don't want to. Do we have some salt here? We don't want to like jinx it. But yeah, we'll be open about it, share it if it's, and also anything financial. Yeah, it's checking how that we're going to do that, but we already had a bit of ideas of like maybe like public donation to help out secure the game. But only if required. Of course.
Perhaps we could aim for like non-profit so that we can just all the money we can get can go into the servers and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make sure the game can exist.
Yeah.
Alright, glad you could join us. But I think if there are no more questions, we should start wrapping up maybe?
Yeah, well, yeah. When is the game coming out? Let's just say... I'm just gonna say February 31st next year.
Yeah, that's a good one. So yeah, still no
Today it's
guaranteed dates on when it comes out.
32 p.m. that would be fun. Good one.
Oh, that's 1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Back from hell. Yeah. I do have something else I am going to be releasing today. I didn't prepare like the entire message, but I'll be revealing it later today. So that's gonna be interesting. It's I'm fine telling
The
it.
standard opening.
It's the desert update to the True Crimson mod.
Ooh.
I'm very excited. I put a
Well, you heard it here first, y'all.
Ho ho ho! It's done, so it's nice. I can feel it. Then we're going to work on the hard mode, which is going to be a whole different kind of fun to work on.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep on working on the UI and hopefully not cry too much because the UI is so annoying to make.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, and thanks for like all of you for being here. Of course, it's a bit of a double side. Like, we of course make it because we love the game. It's a hobby, but it's of course a lot of fun to have you guys all play it and interact with each other. And yeah, a lot of thank you from my end, of course, to Michiel. He did a lot of the legwork on making the game playable, so that's incredible. I would almost say give him a round of applause, but actually give him a round of applause. And yeah, of course, thanks Lance for remaking, or like Lance and Frido. He's actually the project leader. You did a lot more than me, pretty sure. Didn't you actually just put the entire thing together? I did help a lot, but didn't you put the entire beginning together? But yeah, of course, you, Lance, and Frido, I'm not sure if the name is actually mentioned all that often, but he's actually the head developer in this project. Also,
Yeah.
huge thanks to him for like...
I think that's, by now, that's more a title than really anything, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You did the code, that's the fun part, yeah. I mean, my part is also pretty fun because it's maybe a bit tedious, like putting everything in place, but it's a lot of fun when you actually watch it get put together in game. When you go into the game and you actually see it coming to life, it's incredible, exhilarating. It's working.
Especially if you put in hours and hours and it just doesn't work for all the time, and eventually it slowly starts to work.
Yeah. And thanks for coming. This will be it.
And we're still gonna post a recording somewhere sometime.
Yeah, I believe it. I'm not sure if there actually is a Army Attack YouTube channel. I don't know if we have one. I can of course post. I'm not sure how big it is now, but it's. Oh wow, it's 1 hour and 35 minutes has been going on. Jesus.
Yeah, we've been doing well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it fits in Twitter, but yeah, I can try, but we'll also be putting it on the website for easy to find, and if we do make a YouTube channel, put it there, etc. So it can be found.
And it can also be thrown here in the Discord, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, it depends on if someone is Nitro. Alright. Well, thanks to everyone for coming. And I think we'll see you all at the next 1,000 members who join.